Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah HaKodash. Double honors to the elders and bishops of Great Millstone who teach and rule well. Salutations to the prophets and beloved brothers who continue to exhort the sheep in these last days. And mighty shalom to the hopeful elect, continuing to listen and abound and put on understanding. The title of this epistle is going to be entitled, Zombies Will Hunt You Down and Eat You for Food. Zombies will hunt you down and eat you for food if you do not repent and turn from your wicked ways and to keep the ordinances and put on understanding and righteousness and separate yourselves from sin and this world. The zombies will hunt you down and eat you for food, right? So the first chapter we'll go into is found in 2nd Esdras chapter 15 and verse 5. That's in the Apocrypha. Okay. 2nd Esdras chapter 15 and verse 5, it says, Behold, saith Yahweh, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, the famine, death, and destruction. So in the midst of plagues being poured out on the great whore of Babylon for all the iniquities and all the abominations that are done therein, the Most High Yahweh is going to be pouring out plagues for amendment and scourges and atonement for sins. And we want to be found blameless and spotless and not be succumbed to all the plagues and scourges. In particularly in this lesson here is the famine, which is why those that aren't covered by the blood of Hamashiach Yahweh Shai are going to be found in desperation, very much desperation. Their children and their families are going to be found in much a serious case of starvation and may resort to cannibalism. So, which is why henceforth the title is called Zombies Will Hunt You Down and Eat You for Food if you are not found in the good graces of Hamashiach Yahweh Shai and covered by the blood. So famine is going to be brought about as an amendment for sins. Zephaniah chapter 1 verses 14 to 16, and it reads, The great day of Yahweh is near, it is near, and hasteneth greatly, even the voice of the day of Yahweh. The mighty man shall cry there bitterly. That day is a day of wrath, a day of trouble and distress, a day of wasteness and desolation, a day of darkness and gloominess, a day of clouds and thick darkness, a day of the trumpet and alarm against the fenced cities and against the high towers. You are being forewarned before said judgments by the blowing of the trumpets, the messengers that the Most High Yahweh has set up to declare these said perils before they go out and go out. So we're giving you fair warning to hearken and to receive this salvation and receiving the sound doctrine, so that way you may be hid in the days of these perils, and particularly in starvation and famine and the lack of resources, right? Next verse we'll go into is found in Matthew chapter 24. Matthew 24, verse 6 and Matthew chapter 24, verses 6 to 8, it says, And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. We can see throughout the world right now in different countries and in some islands that there's a lack of resources, and because of the onset of prophetic wars taking place right now. And all these are said to be just the beginning of sorrows, right? The beginning of sorrows. Next book we'll go into is 2nd Esdras chapter 16 and read verses 18 to 22. It says, the beginning of sorrows and great mournings, and beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the powers shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. What shall I do when all these evils shall come? Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. But for all these things they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. These are those that have not hearkened and pulled away the shoulder and went about to go establish their own righteousness, but did not take counsel from the men of the Most High Yahweh wa Yahweh Shai. These are those that will receive the famines, the swords, the pestilence, the great evils that the Most High Yahweh will pour out. Verse 21 of 2nd Ezra chapter 16, it reads, behold, victuals shall be so good and cheap upon the earth. That are the things that you can buy right now, before the hyperinflation and all these things will take a turn for the worse and full collapse will come ahead upon the earth, that they shall think themselves to be in a good case, and even then shall evils grow upon the earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. Right, so this is gradually increasing to a point where now all eyes are on the situation and have not took counsel. They wouldn't have heaped up to them enough faith and enough obedience in these times to be protected from the said judgments that will be poured about on the earth. We'll jump to verse 37 and read to 39. It reads, behold, the plagues draw nigh and are not slack, as when a woman with a child in the 9th month bringing forth her son, within 2 or 3 hours of her birth, great pains compass her womb, which pains when the child come forth, they slack not a moment. Even so in a woman that's giving birth, about to give birth right there, there's no way you could turn that back. It's already set in motion. It's about to give birth. Just like these judgments, these plagues, you can't turn them back, because once they're sent out, they're sent out. Verse 39 of 2nd Ezra chapter 16 reads, even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth, and the world shall mourn, and sorrows shall come upon it from every side. Right? So this is a very stark warning, as we can see that day approaching, lining up with scriptures, and be given the wisdom and knowledge and understanding from Yahweh wa Yahweh Shai to put all these things in proper order for you to receive them. There's no hold bars. It's straight in your face. How this message is being delivered. There's no sugarcoating it. I'm not going to put on some romantic music for you to be enticed to. Either you receive this as a warning or you don't, whether or not you have received it. Isaiah, next book is found in Isaiah chapter 13. We're talking about the beginning of much sorrows. For if you are not accounted worthy and covered by the blood of Hamashiach Yahushua, you'll be hunted down as zombies will hunt you down for food, because there will be a lack of food. Isaiah chapter 13, verses 6 to 9. How ye, for the day of Yahweh is at hand. It shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. Therefore shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt. And, and they shall be afraid. Pangs and sorrows shall take hold of them. They shall be in pain as a woman that travaileth. They shall be amazed one at another, with their faces shall be as flames. Verse 9, behold, the day of Yahweh cometh, cruel both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate, and he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. Though these are the ones that have transgressed and have mocked and scoffed at the prophets, and did not take heed, because they thought about to establish their own righteousness and heap up to them seducing pastors and teachers, giving them smooth words, but did not give them the proper warning, aligning it to build up faith, to establish that the security in calling on Yahweh or Yahweh Shai, right? So next verse we're going to go into is found in Revelation. We're talking about the famine, the lack of food, and the lack of all things. Revelation chapter 6. Because things are speeding up. Revelation chapter 6, verses 5 on down, it says, and when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, come and see. And I beheld, and lo, a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand, representing the economic structure, how things are going to ultimately take a turn for the worse. You know, you can afford things now, but as hyperinflation starts to ramp up because the cost of goods is now found to be more scarce, the tax on those goods are going to increase because it's going to be harder for things to be shipped over here for you to continuously buy. Verse 6, and I had heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts saying, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see thou hurt not the oil or the wine. And when he had opened the fourth seal, I heard the voice of the fourth beast say, come and see. And I looked, and behold, a pale horse. This represents famine, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him. So immediately, in the case of famine, death is right behind you, right? And power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth to kill with sword and with hunger and with death and with the beasts of the earth. And with the beasts of the earth. Yes. So judgment upon the great whore of Babylon here in the U.S. is going to eventually come to all these prophetic events taking place. Famine in particular. And we can see in the cases of famine that there's going to be a rise and escalation of, people doing what they got to do to feed themselves and their families, which is going to be likened to a zombie hunting you down for food if you do not receive and take heed and cleave to the warnings that are being presented to you. Let's go to 2nd Esdras chapter 15. And we'll start at verse 15. We're going to keep repeating these things. For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another people with swords in their hands, right? He says nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom, Egyptian versus Egyptian. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their power action shall stand in their power. Verse 17, and a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able to. Why? It may be martial law. Streets will be blocked off because the rise of escalation. People are going to be going out of their wits because they cannot find food, water, and so on and so forth. So verse 18, for because of their pride, the cities shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. This is not just excluding the country and the suburbs that you live in as well. This is going to be nationwide. Okay? A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. So you may think to yourself, because you are well hidden in the woods and you are armed up to the gills with AR-15s, sawed-off, with all these things, that you're not going to be found, and you're going to secure an element for yourself and for your family. I tell you this, that if you're not covered underneath of the blood of Hamashiach Yahushai and do not keep his law, statutes, and commands and work them out to the best of your ability, you will not be covered, and you will be punished in the sight of others, whoever you might be around. Ezekiel chapter 4, touching back on that hyperinflation, which ultimately is going to lead to a lack of bread and the uprisings going on around in the country, whatever. In Ezekiel chapter 4, if I can find it quickly, Ezekiel chapter 4, verses 9 on down, it says, Take thou also unto thee wheat and barley and beans and lentils and millet and fishes, and put them in one vessel, and make thee bread thereof, according to the number of the days that thou shalt lie upon thy side, 390 days, and thou shalt eat thereof. And thy meat, this is the point, and thy meat which thou shalt eat shall be by weight, 20 shekels a day. From time to time thou shalt eat it. And thou shalt drink also the water by measure, as 6 part of a hin. From time to time thou shalt drink. Jumping over to verse 16 of Ezekiel chapter 4, it says, Moreover, he said unto me, Son of man, behold, I will break the staff and bread in Jerusalem, and they shall eat bread by weight and with care, and they shall drink water by measure and with astonishment, that they may want bread and water, and be astonished one with another, and consume away for their iniquity. So, what has happened in the past, as an amendment for sin, it will also take place in this latter time here. The Most High does not change. He uses the same, if not more, scourges for amendment in different situations, and particularly coming to the famine. This is one of his ways that he gets the job done, is by famine. And this is showing you that because of the lack of bread, you will eat your food with much care, because you may not have the means to go and procure yourself more commodities that were once time a luxury for you, but you took not any heed to think about those things that were blessings unto you, and just became a gluttonous sinner. And now you are faced with, this scourge for amendment. With that all being said, there will be a situation in times of desperation for you to be funneled into a new system that's going to be implemented, and that is what we refer to as the mark of the if you do not partake in this new current economy, then you will suffer you will suffer death and famine as well, if you are not covered by the blood of Hamashiach Yahweh Shai. Revelation chapter 13, because this is also being made in the works as of right now. The whole entire world is going to be moved into a situation to use the digital system that's being implemented, because the old system is now being removed out of the way. Revelation chapter 13, verses 16 and 17, it reads, and he calls of all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. This is all the digital IDs that's being set up. First and foremost, the digital implant, the RFID chip, and there was others out there that are putting forth a digital whatever you put in your brain or whatever. But we are commanded not to partake in this system, but have much faith that the Most High Yahweh is going to cover us in these times of war, famine, pestilence, and the sword, because we cry out to him, and there is those that do not crying out to him. But if you take this mark, here's what's going to happen. Revelation chapter 14, verses 9 on down, it says, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast, this is the so-called European nations and all these other nations that are being brought together to bring about this system. And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the Most High Yahweh, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. Right? So if you fall into that category of not being covered by the Most High Yahweh, you will be hunted down by the zombies for food. And if you escape that, you will be met by the sword, and you will be met by much perils and tribulations, right? This is why we are commanded to tell our people to come into the marriage supper of the Lamb before all hell is wrung out in full measure, to the point where you're now clouded with confusion and you don't know where to go, what to do, and you will be caught off guard, right? So Isaiah chapter 58 You don't want to be zombie food, I tell you. Isaiah 58. Isaiah chapter 58 and verse 1, it says, cry loud, spare not, lift up thy voice like a trumpet. This is the prophets, the teachers, the one that the Most High Yahweh has set up to proclaim all these things. We're lifting the voice up like a trumpet. We're telling you to stop what you're doing, because he's about to ruin this whole entire situation and bring about forth judgment. So cry aloud, spare not, lift up thy voice like a trumpet, and show my people their transgressions, and the house of Jacob their sins. So we're bidding our people back to the marriage supper of the Lamb, because in the lands of our captivity, we were going to wake up to who we are and who we serve, cleave to these law, statutes, and commandments, and wait upon the Most High Yahweh to deliver us out of this captivity, right? Next one is Ezekiel. Ezekiel chapter 3, I don't know. Oh yeah, Ezekiel chapter 3, verses 17 and 19. Son of man, I have made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore, hear the word at my mouth and give them warning for him. He does not come down to speak to you, to teach you the scriptures. His word is put into the prophet, those anointed with the spirit of Hamashiach Yahawashi, to go and proclaim these things, to give you warning so you could receive these things and not be gobbled up by the zombies. Son of man, I have made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore, hear my word at thy mouth and give them warning for me. Verse 18. When I say unto the wicked, thou shalt surely die, and thou givest him not warning for speaking to warn at the wicked from his wicked way, to save his life, the same wicked man shall die in his iniquity, but his blood will I require at thine hand. So if you don't give a warning and you don't go tell these things to repent and come back to the law, statutes, and commandments, to put on righteousness, blood is going to be found on your hand. You're going to receive the same, or if not, better judgment. Verse 19, yet if thou warn the wicked, and he turn not from his wickedness, nor from his wicked way, he shall die in his iniquity, but thou hast delivered thy soul. Thank you, Abanawa Yahweh, for giving us this opportunity to come back to you, cleave to you, and give our people sound warning before all hell breaks out. Zephaniah chapter 2, verse 1 to 3. It says, gather yourselves together, yea, gather yourselves together, O nation not desired. We were the nation not desired. Okay, the 12 tribes of Israel that are still kept in this land of our captivity and waiting for the redemption to come to fruition. After these said judgments and pearls must come to pass, we pray to be part of that hopeful elect. Gather yourselves together, O nation not desired. Verse 2, before the decree bring forth, before the day pass as the shaft, before the fierce anger of Yahweh come upon you, before the day of the Lord's anger come upon you. Verse 3, seek ye the Lord, all ye meek of the earth. Meek of the earth, those are the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Seek ye the Lord, all ye meek of the earth, which have wrought his judgment. Seek righteousness, seek meekness. It may be ye shall be hid in the day of Yahweh's anger. You definitely want to be hid in the day of Yahweh's anger, to come back and receive this blessing of wisdom and cleave unto that prophet, that teacher, whoever's delivering you sound wisdom that resonates with you, right? So that way you're not receiving of these plagues. Final verse. This is a chapter of good tidings. Jeremiah chapter 30. Jeremiah chapter 30. I'm going to grab verses 3 to 9. It says, for lo, the days cometh, say Yahweh power, that I will bring again the captivity of my people Israel and Judah, saith Yahweh power, and I will cause them to return to the land that I gave to their fathers, and they shall possess it. And these are the words that Yahweh have spake concerning Israel and concerning Judah, the northern and southern kingdom, right, being reunited again. Verse 5, for thus saith Yahweh power, we have heard a voice of trembling, of fear, and not of peace. Right, we don't come bringing you, this delicate word, but it is a word of warning for you to get your act together, so that way your heart posture can suggest that you may want to be redeemed and not to prolong this captivity and the things here before they fail. right? Verse 6, ask ye now and see whether a man does travail with child. Wherefore I do see every man with his hands on his loins as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness. Alas, for the day is so great, so that none is like it. It is even the times of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. You see that the remnant of the house of Israel is going to be saved out of it. It does not have a message of anybody else and all inclusivity doctrine, but it is the Most High Yahweh himself coming to redeem Jacob from out of these troubles, these judgments, all these things. This is why we are to warn you and say, gather yourself together, O nation not desired, and cleave to those prophets that are giving you this sound wisdom and warning. Verse 8, for it shall come to pass in that day that saith Yahweh power of hosts, that I will break his yoke from off thy neck, and I will burst thy bonds, and strangers shall no more serve themselves of him. We will no longer be kept in this land of slavery and bondage, but he is coming to break those yokes, right? Verse 9, but they shall serve Yahweh power, their Elohim, and David their king, whom I will raise up to them. This is what our desire must be. This is our chief desires, to praise and give homage unto Yahweh Yahweh Shai for all the things that he has bestowed upon us, mainly the sound doctrine and wisdom, because there's so many people out there that wield this knowledge so unprophetically and so horribly, and they're just leading people into mires and the demise of, of the said perils to come. So I pray that this was edifying. Again, you don't want to be caught being a chopstick or a piece of steak for the zombies, because they will hunt you down for food. So next time, shalom.